Welcome to the first episode of this, your podcast, Whispers of the Unknown. Let's start the journey beyond just to unveil the ordinary, where reality bends, where the unknown whispers, and where stories become more than just tales. This is your host, Mike. And the truth is not always found in daylight, but often hidden in the shadows of the night. Grab yourself a coffee and let's dive in. It was December 26, 1980, a cold, crisp night in Suffolk, England. Christmas festivities had just ended, and silence dropped over the vast stretch of Rendlesham Forest, a dense woodland lying near the twin NATO air bases of RAF Woodbridge and RAF Bentwaters, both under U.S. Air Force control during the Cold War. Around 3 a.m., two American servicemen on patrol saw something strange beyond the tree line. Not a plane, not a helicopter, not even a flare. No, it was something far more unexplainable. They described a series of lights descending into the forest, red, blue, and white, blinking, pulsating, dancing among the trees. At first, they thought it might be a downed aircraft, but as they approached, their senses betrayed them. The lights didn't behave like any crash site they had ever seen. What they found would ignite decades of speculation, investigations, and conspiracies. An event later dubbed England's Roswell. Surgeons Jim Penston and John Burrough, along with Airman Edward Capensack, moved cautiously into the woods. Their boots cracked the frozen undergrowth. Their breath formed clouds in the cold December air. The closer they got, the more bizarre the phenomenon became. Pennington would later report a triangular craft, about 3 meters across, glowing with brilliant light. Its surface was smooth, metallic, yet almost alive, covered with strange symbols that looked eerily like hieroglyphs. When he touched the craft, a surge of energy coursed through him. In that instant, images, binary codes, strange visions flashed into his mind. Burroughs, standing nearby, felt time distort. He remembered silence, no wind, no animals, just a strange hum, like the forest itself had stopped breathing. And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the craft lifted silently into the air and vanished between the trees. When the men returned to base, shaken and disoriented, their superiors dismissed the incident as a possible misidentification of a lighthouse beam or stars. But the story didn't end there. No, in fact, it had only begun. 2 nights later, on December 28th, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt, the deputy base commander, decided to investigate personally after reports of strange lights persisted. This wasn't a man prone to fantasy. Halt was military to the bone, meticulous, disciplined, and yet what he encountered would test the limits of his rational mind. Armed with radiation meters, tape recorders, and flashlights, Halt and his team entered the forest. His real-time audio recording of that night still exists today, capturing his disbelief as events unfolded. They found higher than normal radiation readings at the exact site Pennington had described it. 3 indentations in the ground form a perfect triangle, as if something heavy had rested there. Then it began again. Brilliant lights appeared between the trees, splitting, moving, almost playing with them. One orb shot down from the sky, stopping just above the ground before darting away at impossible speed. Another hovered over a farmer's field, beaming down a shaft of light. Colonel Halt's calm voice on the tape grew tense. "It's coming this way. It's definitely coming this way. This is unreal." For hours, the men chased lights that moved intelligently, responding as if aware of their presence. What they witnessed could not be explained by stars, lighthouses, or aircrafts. It was something else, something beyond. The Rendlesham Incident spread quickly. Military police filed reports. Witnesses swore to what they saw. Yet the Ministry of Defense brushed it off, claiming the phenomenon posed no threat to national security. But leaked documents, secret memos, and later interviews suggest otherwise. Pennington revealed, years later, that the binary code he received while touching the craft translated into coordinates, pointing to sacred sites around the world, from the pyramids of Giza to ancient temples, and even a mysterious underwater location near Ireland. Burroughs would later fight for recognition after suffering health issues, possibly linked to radiation exposure from that night. And Colonel Halt? He stood by his testimony to the end, insisting what he and his men saw was real, physical, and unexplainable. Skeptics argue it was just the Orford Ness lighthouse, playing tricks through the trees. Others says it was stars magnified by atmospheric conditions. But if that were true, how do we explain the ground traces, the radiation spikes, the binary codes, and the multiple eyewitnesses' testimonies from trained military personnel? How? The Rendlesham Forest remains one of the most credible and well-documented UFO encounters in history. So, what happened in that cold forest of Suffolk in 1980? Was it an extraterrestrial visitation, a secret military test, or something that defies even our wildest imagination? Sometimes the truth doesn't come in a flash or clarity, but in a shadow that lingers, whispering to us that we don't know everything, that the universe is bigger, stranger, and more alive than we dare to believe. And that, my wonderful listeners, was the Rendlesham Forest Incident, England's Roswell of 1980. A story where fact and mystery intertwine, where logic meets the unknown, and where even the most disciplined soldiers found themselves staring into the impossible. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies and remember, the night is always speaking. if only we dare to listen. See you in the next story, where the extraordinary awaits.